Right, Aaron, what do you think of Trump's days in office so far? What do you think he's achieved, if anything?
Well, personally, I think he's a MAGA nutcase. What he's doing is absolutely atrocious. First of all, he's planning to send military forces to the Panama Canal because he wants to take it over. Because apparently the Chinese are actually operating, but he does not know what he's talking about. He's actually a MAGA nutcase. He's a terrible president.
And does he actually know what tariffs are?
He clearly doesn't because he's placing tariffs on all these countries. He's basically starting a tariff war between the European Union. Well, the European Union is one of these places. We just call them the European Union because it's a collection of countries that are like trading partners, and they've also put heavy sanctions on, to heavy tariffs on Canada, about 20%, I believe.
And why? What's the reason behind these tariffs? What's he trying to gain out of tariffs?
The thing is, the main reason he's planting tariffs on all these countries is because he wants power. He wants to seize Canada. He wants to seize Greenland which is obviously owned by Denmark. So he's sanctioning the European Union in response, and the Panama Canal because apparently it's being operated by Chinese.
And what other thing does he want out of this tariff thing? Does he not just want money as well? Is he money? Because I mean, don't forget, this guy is a failed businessman. He's been bankrupt 6 times, so he knows absolutely nothing about business.
Well, don't get me wrong, right? Don't get me wrong. Like, he's obviously still pissed off about all the terrible tariffs that are going on him as well, with the aluminum and all the natural resources. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that's obviously quite annoying him as well. But that's also kind of annoyed him, hasn't it?
So why is he starting the tariffs since we've been friends with America for so long and have never had tariffs imposed on us before by any administration, but this one is. So why is he doing it now?
Well, personally, I believe a strong reason is because because of the Ukraine war that's been raging on for 3 years. He's annoyed because the European Union, a lot of the countries have not been spending the 2% budget.
No, that's incorrect. What they've not been spending the money on is NATO.
Well,
Ukraine
that's what I mean.
Ukraine is a different thing, right? Mm-hmm. He's pissed off because he thinks that he should get the money back because the Americans spent all that money on Ukraine. What he fails to forget is the European Union as a whole has been also sending military equipment into Ukraine. So it's not just America. So if that was the case, then all the European countries would be asking the same thing, but about Ukraine money back.
Keep in mind, Poland is a key asset to the European Union and to NATO.
Yeah.
They've sent a lot of money to Ukraine ever since the conflict. They've been one of the biggest supporters in Europe.
Yeah. And so is Germany, Britain, France. We've all donated stuff to Ukraine. So what's so special about America?
Well, obviously they believe that just because they are known as the world superpower, they think that they own the world basically.
That's like I told you, like I mentioned before.
Because him and Vance are just slamming their fists down. They think they know what they're doing.
He's a failed businessman. He doesn't believe in any else but money. That's all he's interested in is money. He wants his money back because he feels he's been done by. And all he's going to do when he gets his money back through tariffs and all the rest of it, he's going to give it to his billionaire friends. The American people will suffer yet again because of Donald Trump's greed.
Now, another thing I think we should actually mention in this interview actually is another thing I think we should actually mention as a key asset. I think we should really bring up the interview, the big screaming match between Zelensky and Trump. And JD Vance.
That was a total disgrace. That should never have happened. That was done specifically for the cameras.
And you can tell that you can tell that Trump he wanted that to be on camera for a while
because
he doesn't like Zelensky.
Yes, because he said he would make good television. That's why he did it. So his MAGA nutcases could see what he was doing, being the schoolyard bully that he is.
Oh, and JD Vance as well.
And that idiot.
And JD Vance really had a nerve to like the whole podcast, the whole interview between him and Zelensky. He was constantly barking down on Zelensky, saying that Zelensky was a dictator and he was not being thankful to the United States administration.
Well, it just goes to show you what they are really. This is not a good administration at all. In all the years the Americans have been going on, this is not good for America. Not good at
it's
all.
pretty unhealthy for the administration itself and the government.
It's very unhealthy. I mean, all these mega nutcases are now feeling the effects of Donald Trump
And
and his tariffs and all his cuts to Medicare, Social Security, and it's going to go beyond that. I believe you me, it'll go beyond that because Elon Musk will make a real mess of things and he will destroy people's lives because he's a nutcase, the same as Trump.
well, quite frankly, Trump's just he's pretty greedy, to say the least.
Yes,
And he's only doing this whole thing for all the money. You know what I mean?
yes.
And
Because he actually said at one of his rallies before he got elected down in Mar-a-Lago with all his big business people, he said, "I will make you all rich." That's what he told them. All these billionaire friends of his, he told them he would make them rich, and the only way he can make them rich is by tariffs, raising tariffs, and all that money goes to his billionaire friends. I can tell you one thing: it will not go to the American people.
and he's also friends with another person called Elon Musk, who is also a bit of a nutcase.
Yes,
He owns an app called X, and Musk is pretty much using that as a way to spy on European security.
he could do as well. I mean, he needs to be stopped because
Immediately.
he's going beyond. Going beyond what he should be doing in the first place. And it just goes to show you the world is not happy with Elon Musk because his sales are dropping, his shares in the market are dropping, which should tell him something that nobody likes him at all. He is a white supremacist nationalist. That's all he is. He was brought up in South Africa during the apartheid time, and that's where he gets all this crap about white nationalist stuff. So believe you me, he needs to be stopped somehow.
Now, another thing I think we should touch back on is we should really touch back on what's been going on recently, much recently, in the last week or so between the US and Trump and the world, basically. So, would you like to tell the people watching this podcast what he's been doing with the military stuff between Canada and the Panama Canal?
Yes, well, he's already had the military drawing up plans for a possible seizure of the Panama Canal, as far as I know. He's also going to try and annex Greenland, and he's also going to try and get Canada to be the 51st state of America, which the Canadians clearly do not want him at all.
And he's pretty much already pissed off 90% of the planet, to be honest.
To be honest, he has, yes. And one of these days, his MAGA nutcases will realise that when they stop getting their Social Security, their Medicaid, Medicare, all that kind of stuff will be out the window because Elon Musk will make sure that these people don't get what they deserve.
And another thing we should really touch on is something between him and what's his name, Trump and what's his name, Netanyahu. So him and Netanyahu are actually working on a possible annexation of the Gaza Strip. But here's the thing, right? Trump is only supporting Trump is only supporting Netanyahu because Trump doesn't like Iran. So he sees Netanyahu as a weapon of war.
Quite possibly does see him as a. But the Arab nations have already said that they will put the money up already to rebuild Gaza if there was ever a peace deal done. So Trump's idea of a Gaza land, or whatever you want to call it, it would go out the window because they won't allow it at all.
And he's going to go down the pan, by the way, because his plans are all absurd in a way.
He'll go down the pan, right, because his own people in America will get sick and tired because if you go on YouTube already, there's been town hall meetings where the Republicans have had to run out of the town hall because they were getting so many questions fired at them from ordinary people that they couldn't answer, so they ran away. It just goes to show you how much Americans are actually disliking the Republican Party. And the Republican Party is an absolute disgrace.
Yeah, and I think personally, I think if we actually got a democratic US government, I think things would be a lot better in it.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, the damn sight better than what it is now.
Because if we just get rid of, Donald Trump and JD Vance, if we had a choice, if we could replace, the president with a pro-democrat, it would be good.
Yes, I think it would be very good for the country because it was already a good country under Biden. Okay, he had his faults, but at least he made the country grow again.
And he got slagged off for people saying, oh, he's too old, he's got dementia, he can't run a country properly,
Well,
which is kind of unfair.
it's very unfair when you look at Donald Trump, the state of him, with the orange blob. So yeah,
And then back in September, I believe it was, with the debate between him and Kamala Harris, he starts babbling on about how there's immigrants in the United States, Ohio, eating cats and dogs. Like, what the hell's he talking about?
that was just, I can't find words to describe that because that was just atrocious to come out from a man who wants to be the most powerful man in the world, so called, to say things like that. Just shows you his level of intelligence,
And then
which is not very much, by the way.
And then after he was corrected by the news reporter,
Yes.
he was like, he starts denying it again. He says, oh, there's immigrants saying about the cats and dogs stuff, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's quite ridiculous in a way.
It was very ridiculous to come from a man who was at the time trying to be the president of the United States, to come up with that kind of stuff is absolutely unreal. All he was doing was appealing to his MAGA nutcases, which I don't know what these people think, but anyway, he's in power now, but I don't think he'll last.
And there's also a chance right now that Donald Trump. There's a chance that in 2028 he might run again.
He can.
Well, judging by the Senate, he has control of everything now.
He maybe have control of the Senate and the Congress, but he cannot run in 2028 because he's already had two things of power.
But if he wants to be a dictator, he might want to seize more than that. He might want to take control of the presidency, the terms of the presidency, all that kind of stuff.
I think the people of America have a lot to say about that. A lot to say about it because the way things are going at the moment, he's making a total arse of what he's doing. His foreign policy is pathetic. To come out, the things he comes out with, threatening people the way he does, is just not the way things are done. It's not diplomatic. It's just pure schoolyard bullying. That's all it is.
And then when he met with President Keir Starmer, he acted completely different because for some reason he has a different feelings for Keir Starmer in a way. He wasn't as wild with Keir Starmer.
No, it's because we're sort of trying to be long-term friends with him. But really, I don't know why we are at times. It was okay under Biden and other previous administrations, but under this one, no, it's certainly not good.
They're back to the debate with President Trump and President Biden. The debate was pretty brutal, wasn't it?
It was. Yes, I admit that was pretty brutal. But it still doesn't alter the fact that Trump is a complete idiot. Biden, yeah, we made mistakes, yeah, but if I was American, I would have just gone past that and seen through that because under Biden, their economy was growing all the time. And this thing about prices going up under Biden was totally untrue because just shortly after the inauguration, the figures came out from whatever the national, whatever it is, came out and actually said under Biden, the economy actually grew. And now, because of Trump, it's being crashed. So, yeah. So he's not doing a good job at all.
But obviously, as we know, by Trump's backstory, he was always brought up to be a winner and not a sucker.
I think he was brought up to never admit responsibility for his actions, which he would never will, because if he does anything wrong, the first thing he does is blame Biden for his failings. Biden's not in power now, he is. So anything he does now that's wrong is on him, not anybody else.
And he's actually the 47th president now.
unfortunately. Anything else you want to think about?
Well, honestly, I think this makes pretty good television. So I think we've seen all we need to see, haven't we?
Well, one more thing I was just going to add. I just seen something on YouTube
Yeah.
from a channel that I usually watch. It's quite reliable, and actually the Americans are actually begging the Mexicans for eggs.
Are they now?
Yes, they are.
So why would they be begging them for eggs, maybe?
Because the price of eggs is shot through the roof because of Trump.
So pretty much to make it simple, Trump's crashing the economy,
Yes.
making egg prices go up,
Yes.
and now because of that, they're going to the Mexican border, basically begging the Mexicans, please give us eggs, please give us eggs.
Cheaper eggs, aye, cheaper eggs. Not just give us eggs, give the cheaper eggs. They'll still pay for them, but they'll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're probably going to see a possible siege of Canada and the Panama Canal in the near future, I can tell.
Well, I hope the world wakes up to this and actually says something about it, because all it's doing is giving China an excuse to go and invade Taiwan. That's all that's. Because American can do it, China can do it.
And if the Americans decide we're going to roll over on Canada, the Greenland, or the Panama Canal, that's going to give China the excuse, oh, let's just go into Taiwan and seize their militaries. But keep in mind, China also has the microchips.
Yes, they have the microchips as well.
So that's a really strong asset that they have.
They've got a stronger economy at the moment than America has at the moment, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So the country's been really screwed up by Trump.
Because Trump's a MAGA,
Nutcase.
my point precisely.
That's
So, yeah, I think that actually makes for pretty good state television.
good.
Hopefully all the Democrats see this video and they'll be like, we've got some people on our side.
Well, hopefully the whole of America
Well, hopefully all of America will wake
sees
up.
it, wakes up.
Yeah, hopefully all of America by hopefully in a few months or so, hopefully they'll wake up to see what Trump's actually doing.
Mm-hmm.
He's destroying the country basically,
Mm-hmm. He is.
and it's gonna get to a point where he's gonna end up shattering the world order in a way.
And can I just say one more thing? The Republican Party is the worst party that they ever had in America, because they have done, in the 40 odd years, they've actually done nothing for the American people.
And that's including
Nothing.
And that's including
All they've managed to do is go after the political opponents anytime they can, or somebody, go after somebody, but not work with the American people. The American people have not benefited anything from the Republican Party.
And there's also the unnecessary invasion of, Afghanistan, and which lasted for a good 20 years.
Well, that was done by the Russians. The Russians went into Afghanistan first,
Mm-hmm. And then we went into it.
and
well,
we went into it because of
the Americans, yeah.
because of the wars with the terrorists. Not just all the terrorists, but it was also because of the opium.
But under Bush,
Yes.
right? Under President Bush, he kind of destroyed Iraq, though.
Well, that's to be debated at another time. We need to get a bit more facts on that.
Yeah. So we'll debate about maybe that in the next political podcast. This was mainly just focusing on what Trump has been doing to society recently.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this makes for a good state television. So
Okay. Right. That's for today.
yeah, I think that's us. So
Grand.
subscribe for another political podcast. And this has been Bebsy, and this has been Agent Baldy, and this has been Sani in the Corner. Bye.
Bye.